Have you ever felt that the smarter you appear, the less people listen to you? That your knowledge, instead of elevating you, isolates you? If you've ever noticed this, Arthur Schopenhauer might have an answer for you. The German philosopher, famous for his pessimism and unflinching view of human nature, believed that displaying your intelligence could be one of the worst mistakes you could make. Instead, he suggested a far more effective strategy: playing dumb. But wait, this doesn't mean you should be ignorant or underestimate yourself. Quite the opposite. Schopenhauer understood that society values modesty, and that those who try to impose themselves with arrogance often provoke envy, resentment, and even hostility. And he wasn't alone in this realization. From Socrates to Sun Tzu, from Lao Tzu to Gandhi, many thinkers have understood that when you appear weaker than you truly are, you actually become stronger. In this video, you'll discover why not revealing your full intelligence might be the key to success. We'll explore 5 principles, inspired by Schopenhauer's philosophy, that can transform the way you interact with people and how they perceive you. By the end, you'll understand why true power isn't about looking smart. It's about knowing when and how to use your intelligence. Schopenhauer believed that intelligence is like a weapon, powerful but dangerous when used recklessly. He noticed that people instinctively resist those who try to prove their superiority. The moment you correct someone, challenge their beliefs, or openly display your knowledge, you trigger defensive mechanisms. Instead of admiration, you receive resistance. That's why strategic silence is a skill worth mastering. Sun Tzu famously said, "All warfare is based on deception." When you appear to be less knowledgeable than you really are, you avoid unnecessary competition. This isn't about suppressing your intelligence, it's about using it wisely. Smart people don't rush to show off their knowledge. They listen, observe, and wait. In a business meeting, the person who talks the most is rarely the one who holds the most power. It's the quiet, observant individual who speaks only when necessary that commands respect. Schopenhauer understood that true wisdom lies in knowing when to remain silent and when to strike with precision. By holding back and allowing others to speak, you achieve 2 things. You gather information, because the less you speak, the more you learn. You make your words more powerful, because when you do speak, people listen. This is the foundation of playing dumb. Staying quiet until the perfect moment arrives. One of the greatest advantages of playing dumb is that it allows you to be underestimated. Schopenhauer understood that when people don't see you as a threat, they let their guard down. They reveal their true thoughts, intentions, and weaknesses without even realizing it. Think about it. Who do people fear more? The loud, arrogant person constantly proving their intelligence, or the quiet observer who seems harmless but is actually analyzing everything? The answer is obvious. Underestimation is a weapon. History is filled with examples of people who used this strategy. Socrates mastered the art of appearing ignorant. His famous Socratic irony involved pretending to know nothing so that others would unknowingly expose their own flawed reasoning. Likewise, Lao Tzu wrote that the wisest person appears weak and unassuming, but carries great strength within. In a practical sense, this strategy applies everywhere. In business, being underestimated allows you to outmaneuver competitors who don't see you coming. In social situations, it prevents unnecessary conflict and jealousy. In personal development, it teaches humility, letting go of the need to constantly prove yourself. When you let others think they have the upper hand, you gain the advantage. The strongest move is often the one that nobody expects. Telling people they're wrong rarely changes their minds. It only makes them defensive. No one enjoys being corrected, even when the truth is obvious. That's why true influence isn't about proving a point. It's about leading others to conclusions without them realizing it. Instead of openly displaying intelligence, the best strategy is to ask questions instead of giving answers. By appearing uncertain or simply curious, you allow others to arrive at the right conclusions themselves. And when people feel like an idea is their own, they accept it far more easily than if it had been imposed on them. Great thinkers and leaders have always understood this. Socrates used his famous method of questioning to guide people's thoughts rather than telling them outright that they were wrong. Skilled negotiators do the same. They don't argue, they guide. Even in personal relationships, the most effective way to influence someone isn't by force, but by subtle persuasion. By playing dumb, you remove resistance. People listen to you not because you demand authority, but because they feel like they arrived at the answer themselves. In the end, the smartest person in the room is often the one who lets others believe they are. There's a reason why many highly intelligent people struggle socially. No one likes to feel inferior. The moment someone senses that you're trying to be the smartest in the room, they instinctively put up barriers. Instead of admiration, you create competition. Instead of respect, you create resentment. This is why staying in the background can be a powerful strategy. When you don't feel the need to constantly correct others or prove your superiority, you avoid unnecessary conflict. You blend in rather than standing out, making people feel at ease instead of intimidated. This doesn't mean you should suppress your intelligence. It means knowing when to reveal it. There's a time to share insights, but doing so constantly only makes people less receptive. A quiet observer often has more influence than a loud intellectual. Many historical figures understood this principle well. Political leaders, military strategists, and even successful business people often downplayed their intelligence to gain the trust of others. By appearing humble and unassuming, they avoided threats and positioned themselves for greater influence when it truly mattered. In a world where many are desperate for attention, those who hold back often command the most respect. The less you seek admiration, the more valuable you become. Most people associate power with dominance. They believe that to be respected, they must be the loudest, the smartest, the most assertive. But the truth is, real power often comes from restraint, not from display. Think about the people you admire the most. Are they the ones who constantly talk about their achievements? Or are they the ones who carry themselves with quiet confidence, only speaking when necessary? True wisdom isn't about being heard all the time. It's about knowing when to stay silent. Schopenhauer believed that humility is a form of strength. By not constantly seeking validation, you show that you don't need it. And when you don't crave approval, people naturally start to respect you more. In leadership, the most influential figures aren't the ones who impose their authority, but those who inspire trust through their actions and quiet confidence. This applies to every aspect of life. In business, the person who listens more than they speak is often the one with the real power. In relationships, those who let others express themselves freely are the ones who build the strongest connections. In personal growth, those who don't waste energy proving themselves to others can focus on actually improving. By embracing humility, You position yourself as someone others naturally gravitate toward. When you no longer chase respect, it starts coming to you effortlessly. At first, the idea of playing dumb might seem counterintuitive. We often taught that intelligence should be displayed, that knowledge is power only when recognized by others. But Schopenhauer and many other great thinkers understood that power isn't about showing off what you know. It's about knowing when to use it. By holding back, you gain more than you lose. You avoid unnecessary enemies, you make people feel comfortable around you, and you prevent resistance to your influence. When you let others believe they are in control, you position yourself to guide without confrontation. This isn't weakness, it's strategy. Look at history, business, and even everyday life. The people who truly succeed aren't always the loudest or the most obviously intelligent. They are the ones who listen more than they speak, observe more than they reveal, and strike only when the moment is right. Sun Tzu called it deception in warfare, Socrates called it irony, and Schopenhauer saw it as a way to navigate a world full of ego and competition. The key takeaway? You don't need to prove you're the smartest person in the room. Let others underestimate you. Let them feel in control. And when the time comes, surprise them, not with arrogance, but with quiet mastery. In the end, intelligence isn't about recognition. It's about results. Enjoyed this insight? Subscribe for more and drop a comment. Have you ever used the playing dumb strategy? Let's discuss.